I also want to like bring up an interesting study that I remember reading that was basically women do select for higher money, higher salary, but men also select for like higher education when it comes to women, interestingly enough. And I think that goes back to this whole idea that like
men generally select for beauty and fertility and
yeah,
youth,
but
mostly.
Yeah,
no, they select for money too now.
Yeah,
Actually.
okay, but a lot of them also select for higher education. And I think when it comes to like these highest like socioeconomic classes, yeah, you have some men like balling out, like flying out the Starbucks barista, whatever. But I think a lot, especially when it comes to old money, still have like these values in place of like, no, you have to have a proper lady from the proper background because you want to raise proper children.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, then ask yourself, who's their mistress?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you. And let me ask you, if that's the case, if you honest to God think that, why is the marriage rate at 5.1 per 1,000? Why aren't guys just lining up around the fucking block to
People
get
give up on
married
each other
right now?
too fast.
Why is it? Why, if it's going to make you happier and healthier and all this great stuff that comes after, we're all selecting for, well, we just want the best and we're vetting for intelligence and IQ and education level and everything. Why is it at the lowest recorded level in history? And don't say it's because of the last 5 years of the red pill.
Because people
I was going to say that, like, I was going to say there was this whole, like, you know, historical, like, or, you know, throughout society, this very strong idea that that's what you have to do. That's what you have to get. You have to get married to be happy. And I think a lot of people that were not in financially stable situations, that were in all sorts of different situations, got married when they weren't stable. And when, guess what, the opportunity to divorce came up, they took it. I think when you look at higher...
I can speak to that right now. And this was more to your point, Liv. First, somebody asked me this later on, like what, like in the 60s, and hormonal birth control. One stat that tracks almost identically with the rise of use of hormonal birth control is the divorce rate, right from 1965 through 1975. It is, okay, I know correlation is not causation, but that is one fucking hell of a correlation.
So why has the marriage rates been, why have the divorce rates been the same for a while?
Yep.
Why have the divorce rates not continued? Like, why have they been pretty steady?
Because nobody's getting married.
Well, so you were asking why, and I think our cultural like conception towards marriage has changed. The narrative around marriage.
Because we have one invention that turned the human race upside down,
That's
which is
your
we
opinion.
gave the human reproductive process solely over to one sex, unilaterally to one sex. Not only with hormonal birth control, but with free and available abortion. Those are the two inventions really that happened, by the way, in that same decade right there. That essentially. I've said this before, is that it was more damaging to the human race than the atomic bomb. Okay, it has changed more about human society than anything else. So look at all the things that track between 1965 and 1975. You have what happened in 1971. We go off the gold standard. What happened in 1968? We have the no-fault divorce, which of course the conservatives, which I disagree on, say that the problem with society right now is because we have no-fault divorce. No-fault divorce was meant to facilitate all of the divorces that have been happening as a result of hormonal birth control. So now you've got to have societal changes, legal changes, political changes. Now women have to get back into the workforce. Why? Because now they're single and they don't have to marry and they don't have to fuck beta males to make sure that they've got the beta buck side of hypergamy settled, which is provisioning, protection, and parental investment. Now I can have sex and I don't have to marry this bum because I don't have to worry about getting pregnant accidentally. So what happens? As soon as women have the ability, and this, by the way, this is the first time in human history that we have an invention that says you can have sex without having to worry about anything about pregnancy, and only one sex gets to control that.
I mean, the other thing that kind of in that time frame is women being able to work for themselves and enter the workforce.
Right, and the reason why they had to is because they were all getting divorced because they needed to support themselves.
Wait, no. You see the rates of like women being able to enter the workforce like basically around World War II, right? The men were out of the country.
No, they all came back from the factories.
Yeah,
and
they all came back to the factories. And guess what? Guess what? They came back from the factories, and women, you see like the second, third wave feminist movement coming in full swing, saying like, hey, we were able to work before. We were able to gain some sort of like financial stability.
In 1968,
we don't want to lose
as the
that.
sexual revolution was in swing.
But you're basically attributing this to sexual revolution. What I'm saying is that this is more of like I guess financial revolution more than anything else.
Yes, which
women had economic freedom.
They could not have facilitated were it not for the hormonal birth.
So you're
women
taking a
already
correlation and putting a causation.
There's something called a condom.
Women had economic freedom before
Bless your soul.
birth control. That's what I'm trying to say. The push for women's economic freedom happened prior to birth control. It seemed like the second that women were able to start bringing like finances into the household and started to gain a bigger salary, this was already a motion put in place.
I can show you stats right now where the GDP or the real income for families stays the same, but productivity goes through the fucking roof right around 1971. Why is that? Because we have more women in the workforce. We have no-fault divorce. We have the going off the gold standard. Oh, and then, by the way, women who weren't allowed to have credit cards up until about 1974, that wasn't as a result of feminism like coming in there. It was because we didn't have to worry about it anymore because we have fiat currency now. So the credit, so ladies, you need really credit cards because now you're going to be single, you're going to be taking care of kids, and you're going to be divorced. And now you're also in the workforce. As a result, you see real wages flatline, but you see productivity go through the roof. Because what we've done is we put women into the workforce, but we haven't really seen that translate to real wages. We see it translate crazy in productivity.
Wait, so you're saying men have been, you guys have flatlined, but we're going up.
Women and men have flatlined. Productivity goes up. Because if you go and you look at, I'm working on this, like, it's almost a small book on 1971 right now. So if you look at the societal changes from in the post-sexual revolution society, which, by the way, we're still in right now. If you look at from 1965 to 1975, just that decade, and you look, we have no-fault divorce, we have abortion happens then, we have the rise of hormonal birth control, we have divorce rates skyrocket, we put more women into the workforce. We look at Title IX happens right around then. If you look at all of those, you can track every single thing that we talk about here when it comes to gynocentrism or it comes to feminism. All of those stats, they trace back to one fucking year, and it's 1971.
Well, so you're saying women, because I mean, like Reeves even talks about this, how our wages have gone up and your guys' haven't. You're saying that's not true.
I would say that's only in recent times because more and more, because then now we have finally got past. Oh, I should also add fertility rate. Fertility rate has been below replacement level since the mid 70s as a result of this as well. So all these people banging a gong about fertility rate, you should have been talking about that in the mid 70s. But as far as wages,
you're saying
so
women's wages
you have more women in law, you have more women in psychology, you have more women in basically in enrollment, but also far more women graduating because men are tending to drop out because they don't see any point. There's no incentive for them to do it anymore. Because prior to the sexual revolution, men's means to getting sex was to be a good provider, to have a good job, to have provisioning, protection, and parental investment. That's what they could rely on. Now, women don't need a man, but they want a man.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's why, like, if you like with Reeves and stuff, he talks about this too. We need to flip the education. It's a really bad thing that men are not getting educated, that men are dropping out.
This is no fun. She's agreeing with us, dude. Yeah. We should just move on.
So here's the difference between my take and Reeves' take is he sees this as some sort of social construction problem. It's not. It's a naturalistic problem. The machine hasn't changed since 200,000 years. Okay, so to say, we need to flip. We need women to be more attracted to guys who are these weesh beta male, douchebags because they need more love. 80% of guys are deemed unattractive. How can we get more women to lower their standards so they can get with these 80%ers? That's not going to happen because of the way that the machine is built for men and women.